Hi, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for September 25th, 2025. Here we have President Trump in the Oval Office with Pete Hegseth here. And this is Richard's Trump meeting with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth following Hegseth's tightening of news media restrictions that will require journalists at the military headquarters, the Pentagon, to sign a pledge to refrain from reporting information that has not been authorized for release, including unclassified information. So it doesn't have to be classified more. It covers the whole spectrum of any information that they deem is not appropriate for the public to hear about. Okay, so, and journalists who don't abide by the policy here, journalists who do not abide by the policy risk losing credentials that provide access to the Pentagon. So they could lose their privilege of going into the Pentagon, talking to people, even entering the building whatsoever. Under a memo distributed September 19th that steps up news media restrictions imposed by the administration of President Donald Trump, that directs information quote, information must be approved for public release by an appropriate authorizing official before it is released, even if it's, as I said, quote, unclassified. Given the Pentagon wasn't, now this is a thing that happened here with Secretary Hegseth. They called it Signalgate, where the two factors were involved here. First, the fact that Jeffrey Goldberg inadvertently, it was communicated to him he was invited into the meeting, and he accepted and he heard everything. Now Jeffrey Goldberg was happened to be the editor of the Atlantic, okay, editor-in-chief of the Atlantic. So suppose suppose it was somebody who was somebody that more, really controversial figure who was, it could have been anybody. And it definitely compromised the security of the United States there doing that. And the second thing was that the Secretary of Defense, then now Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, what he was doing was using a Signal app, which is not authorized by the government for use. The government has a special communication, method or system for that kind of communication, where the people are meeting about a high classified thing. In this case, it was messaging where they were talking about basically on Yemen, attacking the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who were creating a problem there, where they're attacking ships going through, and ships had to go all around the coast of Africa, and it was really becoming a big problem. Okay, so again, that was when Jeffrey Goldberg was by mistake included in a group chat on the Signal messaging app, where the Defense Secretary discussed plans for upcoming military strikes in Yemen. Okay, it was the thing involved here. He discussed they say the scheduling and things like that, and it was controversial, very controversial there, and they called it Signalgate. Okay, so that's the backdrop, and that's why people are very concerned over the fact that now things like that would not be released, and you could there are many things in history that we would not know about today if a thing the Iran-Contra incident with President Reagan. We would never know about that if the law stated, whoever was in charge there said, we can't give you any information. So these people these news people were allowed to go around the Pentagon, talk to people, knock on doors, and say, "Hey, let me talk to you about this or that." They can't do that no more, you know. So that's the story there. So the Iran-Contra affair would be another example going back in history of something that would not happen today. You'd never know about it. So these things protect our national security because without borders, you don't have a country. Without national security, you don't have a country either. And this is not small potatoes, in my opinion. This is something that people should think about a little bit. And like I always say, you decide. If it's cool with you, it's cool with me. But I'm just giving you the facts and a little bit of my opinion there. Okay? And there's President Trump here. And here is Pete Hegseth giving thumbs up. And they're having this conference right after that. And I'm going to read that to you there. Okay? Trump. Here's how it would have gone in my Trump world. This is Richard's Trump meeting with Pete Hegseth. My creation, based upon President Trump's past talkings with people and the things that he said, and I just put the pieces of the puzzle together, and here's what I came up with. Okay, so here we go. Pete. Here, let's go back here, and here we go. There it is. There's President Trump, and here he's talking there to Pete Hegseth, and here's how it goes. Pete, this pledge the fake news take that they only report. They had to sign a pledge. You see, these reporters had to sign a pledge that they would obey the fact that they had to sign an agreement that anything that they observed, the thing that was not authorized, they would not report on, and they would not go into certain areas of the building, and all these restrictions that were put in had to be obeyed, or they would lose their permission to ever go into the building again, and that would mean losing their job in that position at whoever they work for. Okay, so that was the pledge. Pete, this pledge, the fake news take that they only report what we authorize is fantastic. Okay, the pledge is a fantastic pledge. Okay, people don't realize it now. They're going to see that your Department of War, now the Department of War, is committed to transparency, to promote accountability and public trust. And I think for that, you will go down as one of the greatest war secretaries of the ages. Okay, and there it was here. Okay, and there it was, and Pete Hegseth giving him a thumbs up there. Again, here's President Trump in the Oval Office. Congratulating Hegseth for those restrictions he's putting in, and the pledge he's making these journalists sign, these authorized journalists to sign, and there you have that. Okay, now here is the second part of this cartoon. Basically, is this. Now, you heard President Trump, in my view, in my scheme of things, in my Trump world, say. Richard's Trump world, say that he'll go down in history for the ages, Pete, as one of the greatest secretaries of war. So now that would earn him, in this world here, a statue of him as the Hegseth Department of War building, a building named after him for future generations. That'd be the greatest retribution in the world for the building, like the J. Edgar Hoover building. We now have the Hegseth Department of War building here, with his cell phone there, a statue of thumbs up with his cell phone. That'd be tremendous. That would be retribution for the ages. That would be retribution for, again, the ages. There it would be. Here, there's the Pentagon in the backdrop, in the background. There. Okay. And I said here, Richard's Trump vision of a future retribution years from now, the Hegseth Department of War building with his statue and his cell phone for his legacy at the Pentagon. Okay, and there it is. There's the statue. And again, that's the Hegseth Department of War building. And that would be for the ages. Yeah. Might even make the Smithsonian Institute, you know, that photo. There it is. Okay, and here is Pete Hegseth's. He put something up on X, and this is what he wrote on X the other day. Here, he wrote, War Secretary Pete Hegseth highlighted restrictions in post on X. And there it was. Okay. There is Pete Hegseth. Okay. And here it was. The, quote, press does not run the Pentagon. The people do. The press is no longer allowed to roam the halls of a secure facility. Wear a badge and follow the rules or go home. And that's his message to journalists. That's Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth, his message to journalists. Okay? Wear a badge and follow the rules or go home. That's it. You know, or cover baseball games. From now on, you'll be covering baseball games, football games, and parades and picnics and stuff like that. No more Department of War for you. You know, that's the message. There it is. All right. Thank you for watching my video. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. Hang in there, folks. Bye.